A wise woman once said, self-care is not about adding something to your to-do list. It's about cultivating a new way of being with yourself. And that wise woman happens to be our guest today. And I'll introduce you to her in just a moment, but first I want to thank you all for being with me here today. My name is Noelle Stearns, and I'm coming to you live from 1440 Multiversity, which is in the beautiful Santa Cruz Mountains in California. And today we are joined by Renée Trudeau, who is an internationally recognized transformational coach, speaker, and author of 3 best-selling books on self-care and life balance. Renée is a community activist and leader, a wife and mother, an entrepreneur, and self-care evangelist who lives what she teaches. She has been creating and facilitating experiential events for women for more than 20 years. She's a returning faculty member here at 1440 and will be leading a program called New Way of Being, Women's Self-Renewal Retreat, October 26th through 28th. So Renée, hi, thank you so much for being with me here today and all of us.
Oh, thank you, Noelle. I'm so glad to be here. I need this today, so thank you.
Of course. And before we get started, you offered to lead us in a little centering. Does that offer still stand?
Yes. I have a lot of emotion moving through me today, and so people are either on their coffee break or their lunch break. So I'm really grateful that they're here joining us, and I'm going to invite everyone to just find a comfortable place, and we'll do just a short centering. So planting your feet firmly on the ground. You can either close your eyes or take a soft gaze, whatever feels comfortable. And just allowing yourself to come into the present moment through connecting with your breath, the fastest way that we move into the present. And noticing if you're breathing from your belly or your chest, not needing to change anything. And bringing your awareness to the area above the crown of your head. And letting your awareness cascade down to your shoulders, your arms, your hands, your fingers. You might wiggle your fingers. Feeling your awareness move down your neck and into your chest. Side body, front body, back body. Awareness moving into your pelvis, your hips, your thighs, your knees, your legs and your feet, wiggling your toes. And feeling your body come alive with 72 trillion cells. Awakening and coming alive, and perhaps just pausing for a moment and asking, and you can even put a hand over the center of your chest if this helps, asking, what do I need today? Permission granted to ask, what do I need today? And see what comes up. And then taking a deep inhale through your nose and letting it out through your mouth. And then opening your eyes. Hello.
Thank you for that. That was beautiful. I needed that.
Yeah.
Totally different space now. So Renée, I want to talk to you about self-care today.
Yeah.
And you wrote an article called You Are Not a Self-Improvement Project, something like that, right? And you had described what self-care is and what it's not, and some of us have a different idea of what self-care is. Can you elaborate on that and describe for us what it is?
Yes, I would love to. I'm really passionate about this topic. And I think, I would even start by sharing what it isn't. So we are not self-improvement projects. So self-care is not about becoming a better you or you 2.0. It's not about doing something because you should do it. It's not about doing something because you read an article and it's telling you should do it. It's really about entering into this way of being with yourself, cultivating this way of being with yourself that is kinder and gentler and more responsive and more willing to meet yourself exactly where you are. And that can be so hard for us, because we're moving so fast and we're projecting into the future and we're going into the past and we're multitasking. But it is so powerful to just meet yourself. I mean, I did this right before we started. Just where am I? What's going on? Where am I? And meeting yourself where you are. And then I define self-care as attuning and responding to our needs and desires moment to moment. That's the really key piece, Noelle. It's not You know, a perfect example, this morning I was supposed to go to this hatha yoga class. I love yoga. And a friend texted me last night and said, do you want to walk this morning at 8 a.m.? And I checked in and I heard, yes, I need to move my body, but I really needed heartfelt connection today. So it was a moment-to-moment experience.
Well, I'm
Different than what
wondering,
most of us think.
yeah, how can you be gentle with yourself and respect your desires moment to moment without enabling yourself to kind of stay in a limited place? Like I could use that as an excuse to say, well, in this moment, I really desire this bag of chips. And what if I desire that every night? You know what I mean?
Yeah, great question. Great question. So when I lead retreats, we go through an experience where we talk about connecting with what I call your wise self. And for some people, that can be your intuition, that can be your soul, that can be your higher power. The wonderful poet Martin Nepo has a quote, and he says that there is a friend who danced with you before you had a body, a friend older than birth. And so this friend is what I call your wise self. And as we cultivate through slowing down and through stillness, cultivate our relationship with our wise self, when we pause and when we ask, what do I need? Our wise self will never lie to us. There's nothing wrong with chocolate. There's nothing wrong with, reading cotton candy magazines or whatever. There's nothing wrong with any of that. But there's kind of like things that nourish us, kind of like cotton candy nourishment and black beans nourishment, And so the black beans will sustain us, So again, not about right or wrong, good or bad, but as we cultivate this relationship, again, with what I call our wise self, we will begin to get clearer and clearer on what will nourish and nurture and sustain us, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I love that. And I also want to take this moment to welcome our viewers. We have a few new logins right now. So I want to say hi to Allison and Heather, Laura, Shannon, and Tiffany. Hi, everyone. And if you have any questions or comments for Renée, feel free to write them in the comments and we'll try to get to them as best as we can. Renée, do you have any of your own favorite self-care rituals that you wouldn't mind sharing with us?
Yeah, and if I can I wanted to share just a little bit more context, Noelle. So there are a couple things that I wanted to hit on. So we talked about self-care being more about a way of being, not something you have to put on your to-do list or something that you have to schedule. All those things can be helpful. Really about slowing down, connecting with our wise selves. What do I need moment to moment? And a really simple way to do that, I can offer a couple of different things, but when you first wake up in the morning, we have habitual ways of being. Again, nothing wrong. We might look at our phone. I'd like for your phone to be in the other room, but we might look at our phone. We might look at the television or the news, or even have ways of engaging with our families. But if we can just take a moment to pause, and you can even do this lying in bed and doing a body scan, kind of like what I just did, and just starting at the crown of your head and slowly moving down and checking in, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. What do I need today? And that can feel really weird at first, but the more you do it, it will start to become more natural. And I can say when I first did it, it was, gosh, what do I need? What do I need? And so the practice of self-care at the beginning just became awareness, just sitting with questions. How do I feel? What do I need? What do I want? Like nobody's ever asked me that. So that first stage is really expanding into just awareness, slowing down, having the willingness to slow down enough to ask those questions. But that body scan in the morning can really help. And something magical happens when we begin to do that and we hear what we need and then we respond. Oh my gosh, we feel resourced. Our state of being shifts, how we show up for our employees and for our bosses and our coworkers and our team members and our children and our lovers and our parents, and all that completely changes. And so I guess that's something I would share if people hear nothing else today. Self-care is really about cultivating a state of being. Cultivating a state of being. Because when we think about, as we move out in the world and we speak or we serve or we connect or whatever it is that we do, we are always coming from our current state of being. So self-care helps us cultivate this more desired state of being, whatever that may be for you.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, completely. And I love that because something I've struggled with myself is thinking that self-care is potentially selfish. I'm taking so much time for myself that I could use to serve someone else or, my loved ones around me.
Yes.
So I'm hearing you say the more you take care of yourself, the better you can show up for those around you. Am I hearing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And for my type A, achievers that like to just go, 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 and they're like, oh God, this sounds like, I'm going to lie on the couch and eat bonbons all day, or that you're going to ask me to move into Slackerville, it's like, no, this is really about rocking your game. When we practice self-care, we live more in our place of wisdom, kind of our wise zone. So we're more creative, we're better problem solvers, we're better leaders. We remember to not just connect from here, but to also connect from here, So yeah, it's really about cultivating our best selves, our desired state of being.
I love that. And on those extra stressful, intense days or weeks or months, are there specific tools that you can share with us? Sometimes it can be hard to even shift gears to tap into that mode.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I'll circle back. I want to talk about a minute about women in depression and just share something around self-care because that's really important. But I'll share a personal story. And so this week I had an evening and a morning when I had a really hard time with my beautiful teenager, just a really hard time with him. And I was really struggling and I hadn't slept well and I got up and I had deadlines and I had things that I needed to get to. But all I wanted to do was go back to bed. So I was working from home that day. And so I got up. And again, just feeling like all I can think about is all I want to do is go back to bed. Just had a really hard night. And I said, okay, Renee, are you willing to go out and walk Rico, our dog, for 10 minutes into the park? Because I'm a big believer in change your environment, change your thoughts. So do it different. So I said, I can do that. So I go out and I walk him for 10 minutes. I come back and I said, you still want to go back to bed? You can. But are you willing to do a 5-minute meditation? And I said, okay. I'm willing to do a 5-minute meditation because that really resources me. So I do the 5-minute meditation. And I said, okay, you can still go back to bed afterwards if you want. But I said, no, let me just have a little bit of protein, a little protein breakfast. So I just took a few minutes, had something that really nourished me. And after that, I was ready to move into my day. Not that there was anything wrong with going back to bed if it was one of those kind of days. But this idea, I would say, when you're really stressed or you're really struggling or you're really feeling overwhelmed, to invite in this idea of what I call incremental self-care. So it's not, it doesn't have to be an hour yoga class. It doesn't have to be a 2-hour meditation. It doesn't have to be going somewhere. It can just be, what do I need? A 5-minute walk. What do I need? I'm going to go put my bare feet on the earth. What do I need? I'm going to pick up the phone and call that wise friend that really hears me and sees me and lets me show up, warts and all. So I would offer up that idea of incremental self-care for those really stressful days.
I love that. That makes it seem so doable.
Yeah. Great. Well, it was amazing to me. I mean, I've been teaching and studying this for 20 years, and I will give myself what I want because here's what I know. If I really needed to go back to bed and I did that and I gave that to myself, when I came back from that, I would be resourced and ready to go. So giving yourself what you need, but also sometimes challenging yourself. Like you talked about the bag of potato chips. When you're in that place, we can either or we can question, what if I did the 5-minute walk? What if I did the 5 minutes of meditation? And it's amazing how that those increments, those micro acts of self-care can have such an enormous impact.
I love that. And we got a question also from some of our viewers, and it might tie into what you wanted to circle back on about the depression and self-care. Martha asks, can you address self-care's, can you address self-care's role in managing toxic relationships?
Yeah, so I guess I want to say a couple of things. I hang out a lot with neuroscientists and psychologists and yoga teachers, and we all love to kind of cross-pollinate ideas and talk about well-being. And what we know, particularly around women, is that when we have a disconnect from self, disconnect from who we are, that typically manifests as depression or anxiety. When we have a strong connection to ourselves, and I like to often think, and this is getting to Martha's question, about staying in my own rowboat. you know? So like, I love my teenager, I love my husband, I love all my siblings, but what really serves me and serves them best is for me to stay in my own boat and let them stay in their own boat. I am able to do that only when I practice self-care. If I fall into my day, if I fall into a conversation, if I fall into a family gathering or a meeting without kind of either being resourced or knowing where I am, I typically get really enmeshed in a toxic engagement or just an engagement that is not where I'm not in my own in my own thing, you know? So self-care, just the gifts keep coming. I mean, I could talk about this for weeks and months and years, but that is, the gifts from self-care are so enormous, you know? So really helping you with boundaries, helping you get comfortable asking for and receiving help, which has been life-changing. It's been helping me. I can be a control freak. It's really helped me around letting go and being with what is. So I would say, hands down, it has been the most profound spiritual practice. And I've done a lot of study and exploration and training in the last 30 years. More than anything I've done, this has been the most profound practice and most profound, really, tool that I have brought into my life.
And I want to ask the viewers also, Renee and I know we would love to hear what some of your self-care rituals are, your favorite ones or your daily habits. So please feel free to share them with us because we'd love to read that. Absolutely. And also, if any of you are craving self-renewal time or you want to go deeper with Renee and her work, consider joining her here at 1440 October 26th through 28th. That's a weekend program. And you can find more information. I will put this up on the screen at 1440.org/programs/new-way-of-being, or you can go to 1440.org and search Renée Trudeau. And again, her program is called New Way of Being, Women's Self-Renewal Retreat. And Renee, I have to say this will be your second time coming back, and we got so much positive feedback from your first program here. There was a wonderful group of women who seems like they formed a tribe after that and are still in touch with each other. And
they are, yes.
Beautiful thing. Is there anything you would like to share about this program coming up?
I think I just want to offer up that I have designed an experience that I would enjoy. So I have taken retreats for about 30 years. I've been leading them for over 20 years. And what I know is there's certain key kind of pieces that make it a really powerful experience. Time alone, time in nature, time connecting with other women in a small group, large group insight sharing, movement, singing, just there's a lot of beautiful things that we weave together, and it's done in a very intentional way. So we get a lot of feedback that people are like, that was just perfect. I got like just what I needed. So, and I guess the biggest invitation I have, if you come to anything that I do, I'm really passionate about inviting you to come as you are. And if you are exhausted, or you are struggling, or you are on cloud 9, I mean, wherever you are, we really create a space where people can show up, you know, just as they are and just wherever they are.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Renee. We're running out of time. Is there anything that is on your mind or on your heart that we haven't touched upon yet that you really want to share with us?
I think just, it's so simple but so powerful. You know, we're living in chaotic times. I think I wrote an article for you guys about Is Crazy the New Normal that's on your website. But just remembering, so simple, that you can just put a hand over your heart center. There's a lot of science around this. This really brings us into a state of self-compassion. Closing your eyes and just asking, what do I need? And you can do this 100 times a day, but just, what do I need? And then letting that come up from the inside out, and then having the courage to respond and give yourself that.
So well said. Thank you so much, Renee. I'm in a better place than I was 20 minutes ago. So thank you so much.
Great. My joy. Thank you.
And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And we hope to see some of you in the end of October. Have a good day.